Céad Míle Fáilte. Welcome to the Treasured Tales of Ireland, where we keep the myths, legends, and fairy tales of the Emerald Isle alive. I'm your host, Linda Butterworth. If you're new to our circle, you can find our full series of playlists linked above to catch up on the journey so far. And if you enjoy these tales, please like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a chapter. A quick note. For those of you using closed captions, many of these ancient Irish names are written quite differently than they are spoken, but we've made every effort to keep the pronunciation true to the tradition. Now, let's return to the fire. Today we continue our saga in the book of the Fianna with episode 54, How Diarmuid Got His Love Spot, part 2 of 13. Diarmuid and Conan and Goll and Osgar went one day hunting, and they went so far they could not get home in the evening. And they spent the first part of the night walking through the woods and pulling berries and eating them. And when it was about midnight, they saw a light, and they went towards it. And they found a little house before them, and the light shining from it. They went in then, and they saw an old man there, and he bade them welcome, and he called them by their names. And they saw no one in the house but the old man and a young girl and a cat. And the old man bade the girl to make food ready for the Fianna of Ireland, for there was a great hunger on them. And when the food was ready and put on the table, there came a great wether, or a castrated male sheep that was fastened up in the back of the house. And he rose up on the table where they were eating, and when they saw that, they looked at one another. "Rise up, Conan," said Goll, "and fasten the wether in the place it was before." Conan rose up and took hold of it, but the wether gave itself a shake that threw Conan under one of its feet. The rest were looking at that, and Goll said, "Let you rise up, Diarmuid, and fasten up the wether." So Diarmuid rose up and took hold of it, but it gave itself a shake, the same way as before, and when Diarmuid was down, it put one foot on him. Goll and Osgar looked at one another, and shame came on them. A wether to have done so much as that? And Osgar got up, but the wether put him down under one of his feet, so that it had now the 3 men under him. Then Goll rose up and took hold of it and threw it down. But if he did, it rose up again in spite of him, and Goll under his 4th foot. "It is a great shame," said the old man then, "the like of that to be done to the Fianna of Ireland. And rise up now, cat," he said, "and tie the wether in the place where it was." The cat rose up then, and took hold of the wether, and brought it over, and tied it in its place to the end of the house. The men rose up then, but they had no mind to go on eating, for there was shame on them at what the wether had done to them. "You may go on eating," said the old man, "and when you are done I will show you that now you are the bravest men of the world." So they ate their fill, and the old man spoke to them, and it is what he said. "Goll," he said, "you are the bravest of all the men of the world, for you have wrestled with the world, and you threw it down. The strength of the world is in the wether. But death will come to the world itself, and that is death," he said, showing them the cat. They were talking together then, and they had their food eaten, and the old man said their beds were ready for them, that they could go to sleep. The 4 of them went in to the one room, and when they were in their beds, the young girl came to sleep in the same room with them. And the light of her beauty was shining on the walls like as it was the light of a candle. And when Conan saw her, he went over to the side of the bed where she was. Now, it was youth, the young girl was, and when she saw Conan coming to her, "Go back to your bed, Conan," she said. "I belonged to you once, but I will never belong to you again." Conan went back to his bed then, and Osgar had a mind to go over where she was. Then she said to him, "Where are you going?" "I am going over to yourself for a while," said he. "Oh, go back again, Oscar," she said. "I belonged to you once, but I will never belong to you again." Then Diarmuid rose up, and he went to her. "Where are you going, Diarmuid?" she said. "I am coming over to you yourself for a while," said he. "Oh, Diarmuid," she said, "that cannot be. I belonged to you once, and I can never belong to you again. But come over here to me, Diarmuid," she said, "and I will put a love spot on you that no woman will ever see without giving you her love." So Diarmuid went over to her, and she put her hand on his forehead, and she left the love spot there. And no woman that ever saw him after that was able to refuse him her love. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey. Slán go fóill. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a thumbs up and comment. It truly helps us.